Namaskar and good evening to everyone. We are here, our last session. It's a showstopper panel for the day 5th of 17th World Education Summit 2020 Higher Education. We are here with our esteemed dignitaries from the higher education, the top education leaders, where we are going to discuss on the innovation and entrepreneurship for fostering growth in higher education. I would like to introduce to our esteemed panelists. First of all, I would like to introduce Dr. Indu Rao, Director, ASC Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore. Welcome, Dr. Indu, ma'am. And she will moderate this session. And I would like to introduce our next panelist, Dr. A.M. Rawani, Director, National Institute of Technology, Raipur. Welcome, Rawani, sir. Welcome to the 17th World Education Summit. And I would like to introduce Dr. Balakrishna Shetty, Vice Chancellor, Sri Siddhartha University, Tumakuru, Bangalore. Welcome, Shetty sir. Welcome to 17th World Education. And our last panelist for this session is Joy Sain, Professor and the Head of Department, Architecture and Regional Planning, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. Welcome, Joy sir. Welcome to the 17th World Education Summit. It's all our honor that to have your presence at this summit. And I request Indu ma'am to moderate this session, and I'm handing this session to Dr. Indu Rao to take this forward. Thank you, Dr. Indu ma'am.
Thank you, Abhishek. First of all, I thank Elets and I thank all the organizers of the 17th World Education Summit for giving me an opportunity to moderate this session and to speak at this session. The topic given to us is very contemporary, innovation and entrepreneurship, how we can use it to foster higher education and growth in higher education. Everybody has been talking about innovation and entrepreneurship. The best example is how COVID-19 has forced this amazing kind of innovation in all our education services, including we are taking classes online, we are doing admissions online, we are doing assessment and evaluation online, we are doing training programs online, we are recruiting faculty online, we are also doing orientation programs of faculty online. Not just that, we have also started doing multiple things because we don't have to go physically to different places. For example, international conferences, research collaborations, discussion with speakers, collaborating across different universities, different industry, institute, academia, so many things are happening. And through this innovation, which has actually further strengthened the need for innovation in our universities. Unless we were forced, if we were not forced massively through this COVID and this fear of the virus attacking us, we would not have adopted this innovation at this speed and with this efficiency. I mean, it is amazing, I think 10 years down the line in history, when people will think how in a matter of 6 months, the entire world and all the universities and the schools of this world adopted this innovation in all the processes of our education. People, it may be hard to believe, but we all did that and we accepted it very well. Today we see that because of this innovation of getting transformed into online systems, we are not discussing the pros and cons, but nevertheless, students and faculty and parents, we have all saved on time and effort and energy. We have saved in cost. Pollution has reduced. So these are because 36 million children are at home, which means that given the innovation that has happened, there are some benefits to be seen, which just supports the cause that innovation can help. I myself, I am heading the Faculty Development Center at VIT, and we have about 2,500 faculty across 4 campuses. We are able to do so many things. Today, this is the 7th event that I'm participating, and it is all happening from one place only and only because we can join online and we can meet very good people across different institutions and all the audience who must be listening during this World Education Summit. The whole idea is that if innovation and entrepreneurship, both of these words have one thing common, that it requires change. Why are we, traditionally, we have reached a situation where many of the people in our academic institutions were status quoists. Anybody who tried to bring about a change had faced severe resistance. And there are stories all around to see that. But at least we are happy and we are not going into the past. For now, we know that if we accept change, if we encourage people who want to change, then it may lead to some positive results. So why are we not allowing that to happen very frequently in our education system? That is one of the problems that we have to see if we have to really use innovation and entrepreneurship for the growth of higher education going ahead from here, from this point to future. We had some problems. Traditionally, I mean, in the last 30, 40 years, there were times where not very bright students did not take the profession of teaching. Mainly people wanted to go to corporate, or they wanted to go abroad, or they wanted to join some industry, or some become an entrepreneur themselves, but not in the education industry. As a result, for a long period of time, we had some kind of a mediocrity that crept in. However, in the last 5 to 10 years, I am seeing that change agents across different institutions and across different sections of the society have been driving towards, have been pushing the education industry for a change. There is a emphasis on teaching, research, industry collaborations, international collaborations, multidisciplinary curriculum, multidisciplinary events in the institutions, and also for people to have some flexibility in their curriculum. The recent NEP actually talks of all of these things, and it's a great move towards growth in higher education system. But we have a very exceptional panelists today from different parts of the country and from different disciplines. So it's a multidisciplinary panel that we have today. I request one by one, I will request all of you to throw light on this, that how can we take this forward? Given the resistance that we face in our education system, and given that we know that changing from here and moving forward through innovation and entrepreneurship will bring positive results, how do you think we can make this change happen in our institutions? I would request Dr. Joy Sen, Professor and Head from IIT Kharagpur, to please share your thoughts.
Thank you so much, madam, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I also thank the World Education Summit for giving me this opportunity. And I think this is an august moment because I share this platform with two, including you, madam, three very esteemed speakers with very rich and prodigious background. So since I'm starting, I'll just set the first chapter of a thesis, like an introduction. And I'm sure the richer chapters will come from, Dr. Rawani and Dr. Shetty, giving the true guidelines and the true directions of the future. I'll keep it very simple because I'm sure a lot of young people are watching us, and I have always seen from my classroom experience that the simplest of things really click. I don't know whether it will click today, but it is the simplest of things which are also very complex that bridges innovation and entrepreneurship. I'll speak about 5 things and I'll make it very quick. The first two are the relationship between the supply side of innovation and the demand side of innovation. I'll begin with the supply side because the summit talks about higher education. So higher education means that already there is a given level of education that is available to all the young stars, the youth force of India. Now, when we talk about India, it's a country which is very complex. It's not like the European countries or even the USA. It is a country which has, on the one hand, a very rich past, a galaxy of great peoples and scientists, and even people from religion and spirituality. Everything comes as one package, which is called the Indian package. And today, worldwide, the Indian systems, the Indian knowledge systems, that we call IKS, is very well accepted. Starting from the noetic sciences, the neural sciences, the biosciences, the Ayurveda, and even yoga, which is more practiced in the West than it's practiced in India right off now. And it says that yoga improves innovation, yoga garners entrepreneurship because you become calm and you can take the right decision. So I won't talk about that. I'll just stick to the first 2 pillars. So the most important thing is how we assure a very high educational platform, which is the whole educational infrastructure. So I think here India is just on the threshold of a launching. It's like a huge rocket with a very rich past and with all the forces of the youth force and the teachers and the industrialists and the academicians who are available in the research, development, and application, the triple interface of innovation. That's very important. Which is, I think, an excellent combination that gives Indian institutes, Indian associations, Indian organizations, Indian companies a tremendous opportunity. And in this, I just recall a saying by Swami Vivekananda, because education is a process of manifestation of a perfection which is already there within the human being, And we really have to know what exactly we mean by this perfection. Is it a perfection in the product that we do? Is it a perfection in how we sell our products? Is it a perfection in making the profit out of these products? Today, the turnaround in green productions and green consumption and green profit making have showed that much of our industrial processes are not foolproof. They are probably very efficient, but they are not foolproof. They are not humane. So one of the most important thing on the supply side is to humanize the higher education and summit of all the institutes and all the organizations here. There's a lot to say, but I think I'll stick to that. So that's the first pillar, which is the supply side. Now on the demand side, we have millions and millions of students in this country, and of course we are global. India has been always a country which has been a globalized country. People have come to this country for thousands of years. The first universities in the world were there in India, like Nalanda, like Takhat Bahai, and many others, Takshila, Vikramshila. So for India, education is not a new thing. Probably we had ups and downs, and we had some medieval times, but today the country is on a surge, and the youth force is extremely rich. And I'll just emphasize one parameter under the second pillar, which is the demand side. That's creativity. I think creativity is a very important thing to be nurtured. I think every soul, every little boy and girl who enters the classroom has something to say in that class. For example, I'm an architecture and urban planning, regional planning professor. And if I stick to architecture, there are a lot of students in my class. They're probably going to be great when they come to a media production, or maybe a creation of a blog, or maybe they're going to be a wonderful person in the consortium of the business, or maybe they're a lovely speaker. They can sell the products while they speak, or maybe someone is very good at fabrication. So every student has a talent. So the creativity remains with the recognition of the talent. So there is a tremendous task of a teacher and or someone who is like a senior person in any context to understand this diversity and heterogeneity of creative potential of young stars. So I think one of the policies of the National Educational Policy, the NEP 2020, Government of India by the Ministry of Education, is also that where the liberal arts are again combined with the technical sciences, where the performing arts are again combined with the laboratory capsules, where the fine arts are again combined with whatever we do in a computer algorithm or a VLSI circuit laboratory. So it means that we are essentially going to tap the both sides of the human thinking, the intuitive creative side and also the analytical creative side, because then only we can find the middle path of education, so that it creates a balance between the two tendencies of youngsters. Someone wants to be a poet and also be an engineer at the same time. So education, higher education, should provide both the opportunities. For example, if you look at Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, he was a great entrepreneur. He created a university. He was a friend of Roman Lola, Rothenstein, Albert Einstein. Even Heisenberg came to Kolkata to meet Tagore. So these are, these are extremely strong signatures of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship does not mean you have to make a huge building or a lab and put computers. You need to make institutions in man. When Dr. Radhakrishnan is walking the corridor of an institute is actually moving in an institute. IIT Kharagpur is not an institute. When Dr. Radhakrishnan is walking the corridors of IIT Kharagpur becomes an institute, because So living beings, extremely inspired human beings make uh, an institute and bridges entrepreneurship and innovation. That brings me to the third pillar, and I think this is something which everybody knows. It's there in a lot of books in the United Nations, because innovation comes in three stages. Initially, whatever innovation we may talk, but mostly it's factor driven, and this is not anything new that I'm talking about. What I mean is that the factors are all there, but they're not stitched. Maybe the students are there, but there's no good teacher. Maybe there's a good teacher, but the students are not connected. Maybe there are good teachers and good students, but we don't have a right classroom infrastructure. Maybe we have the three things, but we don't have an outreach and dissemination program. So all these 4 or 5 factors are, one or two of them are missing. So if we can sort of assimilate all these factors, we move on to the second stage, which is systems building, which is efficient. They all come together, like a car. The thermodynamic capsules, the hydraulic capsules, the steering and the interior design capsules. They all come together, and then you get a Maruti car. It's a product design. So in the same way, you have to bring all the factors together to make a design possible. So that's the second stage. Once you can assure a systems-driven innovation, then you can move on to what we call innovation, and what actually is innovation. So India is probably in a stage where we are moving from factor-driven to efficient systems-driven. We are right there. A lot of companies are reaching that stage, but we have to make that second leap, from the systems-driven to the inspiration, innovation-driven. So that's my third pillar. Given that, I'll come to the fourth, which is my second last, and this is also something which is not very new, is that we need a governance infrastructure in the country, in terms of quality controls, accreditations, a lot of CSR, which is available for innovations, the recognition of small-scale organizations like NGOs and CBOs and a community-based organization, individual entrepreneurships, and especially the women in entrepreneurship. I think that's very, very important. Today we have a prodigious woman who is in charge of this session, Dr. Rao. So that makes the session right. And I'm again going back to Swami Vivekananda. He said the day India brings back her womanhood from the kitchen to entrepreneurship, then India is going to rise again. You get those days of Gargi and Maitreyi and Arundhati and Lopamudra. I think it's happening to India right now. The past few awards that went to our alumni are all women. So I think that is a very clear indicator. And it's nothing that we are not doing a favor to women. They already self-deserve. It's a very natural thing. The only thing it was missing for about 2,000, 3,000 years in the medieval ages, after the Vedic ages and whatever age we had in the past. So that missing link we have to bridge. And that brings us to a very quality dynamics of India. So I think, you look at the present president-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and he is getting, in addition to the vice president, Kamala Harris. Today I read the announcement on CNN. So he's trying to incorporate a lot of women force in his cabinet, because he thinks that women has both the left brain and the right brain thinking. Men probably don't have. I'm not going against myself and the two other esteemed persons here. What I'm trying to say, because a woman is actually a mother. So you need a mother in the house of innovation, because you need to be caring, and you need to have empathy. You need to have sensitive things, because just mathematics, algorithms, and policies won't solve. So when I talk about accreditation, which is my fourth pillar, it talks about technical empathy. So you need to combine social science with technical sciences. So empathy comes from social science, and probably a microprocessor is an analytical science. So you have to combine both. And I think India can give a tremendous leadership in that, because in India, maybe for the West, it's a new thing, it's an invention, but in the Indian metaphysics and meta sciences, such an approach were always there. All our rishis had a women counterpart, like Vashishta had a Arundhati, and Arundhati is more famous than Vashishta because she leads the 7 stars, the Saptarshi Mandala. So we have these evidences in the Indian ethos, and they should not be stories in mythologies. They should come down. If you read the books of Ashwin Sangvi, Sanjeev Sanyal, or Amish and others, These are the kind of stories that's happening. That's a youth force. So you can be an entrepreneur, even writing a book, and you can change the whole country. Books have changed hundreds of countries and hundreds of civilizations. So even book writing, narrative, and filmmaking should be emphasized in a technical education. That's NEP 2020. That brings me to my last pillar, and this is not mine. I have no copyright in saying this. This comes from our Dean Shrick, which is a sponsored research and industrial consultancy cell of IIT Kharagpur. I've been very proud. I feel very proud to be a part of a process where the Shrick cell of IIT Kharagpur, this is probably the first time that's happening to the IIT system. We are creating a cell which is called Lab to Market. And this is very pragmatic, because most of our research and innovation just happens, it just moves from research to application. And we just reach an application and we think we are done. But many of the professors here probably cannot make a business plan. Many of the professors cannot actually write a legal document. Many of the professors, including we are not very fit to actually create a document which will fetch me an IPR. So these are the things which is extremely important. So very recently in IIT Kharagpur, we have set up. We are in fact just setting up what we call what is called a LTM cell. And incidentally, I'm just designing, the architectural space of that cell. So I know some of the other esteemed professors who are more talented than me. I mean, much more talented to be the electrical engineers, there are computer scientists, there are biotechnical engineers, because IIT Kharagpur is more like an university structure. We have law, we have education, we have medicine, we have management. Very recently, we have a center of happiness. As of now, we are opening up a center of excellence of Indian knowledge systems. So that's making education very all-pervasive. So all that, even IKS, Indian knowledge system, has to have a very important thing. So in IIT Kharagpur, at the governance level, I'll end with this. At the governance level, is trying to plan a LTM cell, which is a lab to market cell. And at the students level, we are trying to do a DIY project, which is do-it-yourself project. It's happening right at the first year's level, a do-it-yourself project, because every student steps into an institute, whether it's VIT, madam is from there, or from Siddhartha University. I've been to Tumakuru, sir, about 25 years back. I was teaching in Siddhaganga Institute of Technology, SIT. Dr. Chen Basappa was the principal at that point of time. So I'm very familiar with your place, Tumakuru. It's a wonderful, they call it Kishkindha, of Ramayana. Yeah, so it's a very pious, auspicious place. And I've been to Sringeri, but I'm digressing. I'm coming back to what I was saying, is that we need to marry these two, demand and supply. So I'm ending with what I started. So we have to transform the supply into an L to T mechanism. And we also have to recognize the student's talent, because every student walks into an institute with a pre-born impression, what you call samskar, a talent. Yeah. Here we are extremely important. So we cannot have a monologue, homogeneous form of education as left by the British for about 200 years. We need to have heterogeneity in our education system, and we should be diversified, picking up from one student to the next student. And the online education, which madam just said, gives us an opportunity to interact with students one-to-one. And I have realized that, that I have made more efficient PowerPoints when I have become online than I used to casually do, in my classes. So I think every system has a good side. There may be a bad side. Yeah. So exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir.
So
And
I think I'll end with this. So these are the 5 pillars. If I sort of say it once more, the demand and supply, innovation and entrepreneurship, the 3 steps from factor to efficiency to innovation through systems building, and then the whole of governance, which is innovative accreditation, and then finally a bridge between lab to market cell, where the products that we do in the labs is actually a product which probably Tata wants that, or Cognizant wants that, or maybe GMR wants that in an airport, sort of to innovate maybe a entry point and have a little bit of a tab there so that the space,
Yes,
space
sir.
is very user friendly.
Yeah.
So with this, I give the floor back to Madam, and I hope I have made
Thank
some.
you, sir.
Yeah, I hope I have made
Thank
some
you so
sense.
much. Thank you so much, sir. Just as you said, you started the first chapter and you put the whole concept and theory of innovation and
Thank
into
you.
entrepreneurship. We have only half an hour left, so I request Dr. Bala Shetty, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Siddhartha University, Tumakuru, Bangalore. And sir, would you please throw light on how your university takes care of innovation and entrepreneurship, which can help in the growth of higher education?
Okay, Indu, thank you very much. So you already spoke about the advantage of COVID-19 situation. With all those disadvantages, we also talk about some advantages. And Dr. Joy was good enough to speak about so many things about Hindutva and Vivekananda's quotations regarding education or something like that. Of course, for a long time, we thought education is teaching, learning, memorizing, writing answer sheets, getting marks, and getting good job. All those things we thought it is it is education. But the COVID has taught us so many things. Number one, I would like to say our faculty members thought we need to teach our students, otherwise it is not possible. Now it has gone. I'm not telling you need not teach, but our students have learned so many ways to to get the knowledge, because education, I would say, it is not the knowledge, because not the data collection. We should understand that we are not here to give data to the students, because any data for that matter, you ask me any data for that matter, this particular instrument in my hand can give you the answer for any data. So first of all, as far as entrepreneurship and innovation is considered, the faculty members should stop focusing too much on conveying data and giving data to the student. It is not education, of course. And then then we talk about second thing we thought is education is completing the syllabus. We thought we should put all our students within 4 concrete halls and finish off the syllabus. That was not at all our responsibility. I would like to say that now the students know how to read, how to learn, how to get knowledge, how to get wisdom, I would like to say. So education is more into wisdom, not into imparting knowledge or data to our student. That is the first point we should understand. Now, the second point I would like to say, with these things in my mind, what I would like to say, of course, Joy also told about this. Let us say, I would like to say, I had one situation when I was doing my master's in radiology. That was back in 1986. We had innovative equipment coming up. We had the ultrasound scanner, the CT scanner, MRI. And when I was doing my post-graduation, I wanted to do a thesis or a research on MRI, because I wanted to do a research on ultrasound, because that was innovative instrument. So I went to my faculty member, who was a senior HOD, who was a senior radiologist. I told him, sir, I want to do this particular thesis or a research on ultrasound, because it was an ultrasound of the renal failure. Then he asked me, okay, this is the ultrasound of renal failure. Okay, you want to do a research on this? You tell me how much references you have. Then I said, sir, I don't have a lot of references, because it is quite innovative, quite new thing. Then immediately my faculty told me, oh, this is something new, there is no references at all. And then how can you do a research on these things? Then he said, you don't do research on that. Then I also got fed up. Then I went and saw some X-ray, because X-ray was there for 100 years by that time. So X-ray was detected in 1895, and I was doing my research in 1986. So it was almost there for almost 90 years. So I said, I will do X-ray. I'll do a research on bone tumors, on X-rays of bone tumors. Then again, I went to the same faculty, sir, I want to do a research on these bone tumors. Okay, and then he went through the article. Then he said, show me some references. Then I showed hundreds of references, because it is a quite old. Then he said, oh, there are thousands of references. What research you want to do on these things? So why I'm telling this, when the students want to do something innovative, there is a lot of hurdles, and I'm not putting down my faculty members, but they say if there is no reference, they'll say there is no reference. If there's a lot of reference, they'll say well, there are a lot of reference. Why do you want to research? And the other thing which I see, they ask, where is my name, whether it is in the top, whether it is the bottom, who is the first author, who is the second author, all such things which I see as for the innovation and entrepreneurship is concerned. What I would love to say, I do not have 100 solutions or 1001 steps for success or entrepreneurship. I want to say only one thing. If you want your higher education students to be entrepreneurs or innovative, give them the autonomy. Give them the autonomy. They say necessity is the mother of all inventions. They should have the necessity. They should feel they have got so much of fire in their belly. They want to do something. We just want them to. We want our faculty members to motivate. We don't want our faculty members to finish off the syllabus. We don't want our faculty members to teach them so many things, because apart from mathematics are some derivations which ought to be taught. Most of the things I feel our students, higher education students, are capable of studying on their own, and there are so many digital media to learn. So what I would love to say, my faculty members should give autonomy to the students. That is the most important point I would like to say. They should give that. Students should feel good that the innovation entrepreneur should come from within. It is not from outside. Everything comes from within. We say, as a doctor also, I say almost all the diseases are endogenous. They come from within. There is no bacteria, no virus. We also know that, because we know COVID infection is not from outside, it is from inside. If your immunity is not good, you will get a COVID infection. So that is, let's not discuss on that point now. So what I am telling is, try to get that enthusiasm, motivation. That is the strength of our faculty members. Number one. Number two, whenever we do we see a lot of webinars, we say it is a era of webinarias, so many webinars. But all these programs should be student focused, should be focused with the student. The student should get involved. You don't want to involve the student. Let's say you have got a program in the school, in the college. You ask the student innovation, welcoming the chief guest or whatever it is. You give them the responsibility. First is autonomy. Second is action. They say, if you read, I forget. If I write, I remember. If I do, I know. They should do it. So allow the students to do it. What we do in our higher education center, in our medical college, engineering college, dental college, we ask our students to go to rural primary schools, government schools, and teach them. Because who can teach in a SSLC? If it is a 10th standard or 12th standard, the teachers there are hardly become BSc, they're graduates, but we have got postgraduates who can teach them much better. So we ask our students to go to the rural schools and teach them. So when you teach, when you do, you know, you learn. So you learn much more when I do. So what I would like to conclude, that give autonomy to the students and show your actions. We also have come out with what is called as the action research. Research should not be just on animals which do not have any impact on our society. The research should have an impact on the society. Just look at our students. Here they are useless. No, we make them useless. But when they go abroad, they are the CEOs, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, our CEOs, who are the math bee winners, our Indian students. Spelling bee winners are our Indian students. In a different soil, let's say US, they perform much better. Why? They get an inspiration, they get the motivation, they are allowed to work. So that is the most important thing I would like to say. And the last point I would like to say, our students are good, our faculty members are still good, they are much better. But we need not copy the West, we need not see the East. We are the best. We are always the best. I feel India, with 1/6 of the population in this particular globe, we need to do something for ourselves. We need to be good for ourselves. We need not copy the West. We need not copy the ranking of Western universities. Our ranking should be good for our people. Why should I do ranking for their people? If I work on diabetes, if I work on typhoid fever, nobody will give importance. It will not be published. But if I work on Rocky Mountain fever or West Indies fever, something like that, which is seen only in the West, it will be published immediately. So what I'm telling is, number one, we need to do, or we are the best, and our faculty members should cite our own articles so that our citation index will increase. We need not cite the foreign journals or Western journals. We need to cite our own journals so that our citation index will increase and our university will have a better ranking. So with these things, I would say we are the best. Let us do the best. Let us give the autonomy to our students. Let us do action. Let us not just speak. Our actions should speak. Okay, we are very good. They say we are good. They say there is a diarrhea of suggestions for Indian faculty. But as far as the implementation is considered, we have got a very serious constipation of implementing these suggestions which are given. So let us ignore those things. Let us go forward with our actions and autonomy to our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have with us Professor A.M. Rawani. He's the director of NIT Raipur. And just like Professor Joy Sen started with the chapter and theory and all the concepts and 5 pillars, and Dr. Shetty emphasized on the importance of being local and doing teaching and research that has a local impact, we can draw from our local wisdom and contribute to literature for the international literature and international universities. That is the way we see from here that India, only then India will emerge as a global superpower. If we continue to teach what was written in the West, the theories that were developed in the West, we will only be seen as a disseminator of knowledge and not creators of knowledge. So I think that is a very important point. And unless we move towards that, India and Indian educators will not get global recognition. That is what we need. We need global recognition. We cannot just do away with the global standards, because we have to have a space in the global situation, global scenario also. But we need to look at in what is important for India as well. Dr. Rawani, I would like you to please shed light on how can we create entrepreneurs and how can we develop this creativity and innovation in our students? No, sir, you have to unmute. And we want to move from this students trying to get a degree only to get a job, and the students should move towards thinking how they can get some knowledge and start something of their own and become job creators instead of just job seekers. I think he has just moved out. He's logging in again. Maybe there's a technical issue. But sir, very well taken, all the points, and this is where India needs to move now. If we need growth in the higher education sector, there is no other way but to change, and innovation, creativity, entrepreneurship, all these things have to be brought up. We have, for a long time, there has been like a standardization. In fact, standardization has gone to an extreme. We have taken for granted that a university once established, there are some systems and processes set up for admission. Some curriculum is fixed. We also have started thinking that some kind of knowledge and some books that were created at some point of time will stay forever. It is not like that. We have to continuously change, and we have to create some knowledge in our own country by our own native educationists and researchers who will look. As Dr. Shetty was saying, it's not necessary to get citations, because I spent several years in the US and in the Netherlands and in Europe and participated in conferences across the world. I also did research on the Indian entrepreneurs who have only gone up to class 10 and are doing 95% of global business share. So I am very strongly supporting of what you are saying, that there is a lot of native wisdom. And as Professor Joy Sen was saying, it's not that all of this is new to India. There's been ups and downs. So the Nalanda and Takshila were Indian. Everybody knows it. But of late, we have started copying the West, and we have started saying only that if the West endorses us. Dr. Rawani is back, sir. I was speaking while you were trying to log in. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, now I'm audible?
Yes.
Okay, very good evening to all of you. I'm sorry that my connection was lost in between, so I could not immediately start. First of all, I would like to thank the World Education Summit for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with all of you. Yes, Madam started with the very true thing that in the COVID, the institutes, higher education institutes particularly, they got ample opportunity as far as the entrepreneurship and innovation is concerned. And my previous speakers, they also throw a lot of, you can say, novel ideas they have given. They have thrown light on the various pillars my previous speakers talked about. My opinion is that not only during COVID, but even prior to that or even after that, if I say, the entrepreneurship and innovation for higher education institutes is very important. So let me start with the from very, you can say, fundamental root I should say, root cause why there is a need of innovation and entrepreneurship. If I recall, soon after assuming the office of the second term in May 2019 of the government led by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, they have set a target of $5 trillion economy by 2024. When we talk about this much economy by 2024 in a span of 5 years, definitely there is a need of evolving knowledge-based society, knowledge-based economy. And for that, definitely there is a need of so many new concepts, new ideas and all. So the question comes that from where these ideas will come, from where these ideas will emerge. Definitely that the responsibility is on the higher education institutes, particularly the technical institutes, if I say. So it is very, very important that these institutes emerge as an island of innovation and entrepreneurship. Now the question comes that how this can be achieved. If we talk about entrepreneurship and innovation from the higher education institutes, how this can be achieved. The very important thing is that there is a need of having a paradigm shift in the education system. When I say paradigm shift, I mean presently we are having the system where we are focusing more on marks and grade based system, marks and grade based education system. What a grade particular student is obtaining, that is you can say reflected in his grade sheet, and one who is scoring more, he is believed to be a more brilliant student. We have little focus on the entrepreneurship or innovation. So there is a need to have a paradigm shift from marks and grade based education system to innovation and entrepreneurship based education system. Our Indian universities, if I say, they are doing great in terms of the research outcome, but we are lagging in innovations part. Our education system has not been able to give tangible outcomes to our industries and societies in terms of the innovative products. We are publishing so many papers, but we are not giving society our innovative products to the extent what is expected and what is needed. If I look at the previous reports, very recent reports, past recent reports, where the India has been ranked as the 4th highest PhD producing country in the world. So as far as the research is concerned, we are good. We are producing many research. Our universities are good research centers as well. But we are not converting those research into usable products. As my previous speaker talks about, that in IIT Kharagpur, they are going to set up a cell where they are converting the lab ideas into the market. Yes, my focus is also the same, that whatever we are publishing, that remains in the library, that remains in the journal. But there is a need of converting it into the products, into the, you can say, usable things which is used by the society. There are two words, research and innovation. My perspective of looking at these two words is, research means the conversion of wealth to knowledge. Yes, research is conversion of wealth to knowledge, whereas innovation means conversion of knowledge into wealth. Why I am saying like this? Because for generating, you can say, the ideas for generating research, etc., we are utilizing a lot of money. Funding agencies are there. They are funding the research projects. We are utilizing, as a researcher, we are utilizing those money in, you can say, generating the various research papers. We are publishing various research papers. So research is basically conversion of wealth into research. But when we talk about the innovation, it is a conversion of the knowledge into wealth. So basically there has to be a complete loop for the fruitful process. There is a need of conversion of the wealth into the research, and then there is a need of converting these research into, again, you can say research or knowledge into the wealth, so that it can be used by the society. It has been seen that.
Sir, can you also throw light on how to convert your students from being job seekers into job creators?
So for that, basically there is a need of cultivating in them that entrepreneurship skill. That cultivation is must. How that can be achieved? For that, if I say presently the research scholar, where they are joining any institute, they have no end goal. They are simply joining a PhD program that they are to complete a particular research program in the targeted time, but they don't have in mind that whatever research they are doing, that must be useful for the society. That must be, you can say, not only limited to the lab, not only limited to the publication of the papers, but that must be useful for the society. So for that, they have to, you can say, set their mindset. They have to have the goal orientation in that way, that their outcome will be utilized for the society. There is a need of converting the research centers. Our universities, our education institutes are the research centers. So there is a need to convert the research centers into innovation and entrepreneurship centers. So for that, we may start with, you can say, the PhD scholars. Then gradually this idea may be percolated in the UG and PG programs. They are also doing a lot of research, but that is not converted into the innovations. So there is a need of converting these publications back into wealth and job creation for the masses. When there is when the, you can say, the cycle starts, when we not only publish, but when our publication is useful for the industries, the industry will look towards the, you can say, higher education institutes for getting their solutions, for looking for the innovative ideas, looking for the, you can say, innovative solutions. All this will be possible when we have to create a kind of ecosystems in that. So there is a need of promoting startup PhDs, I should say, startup PhDs. Each research ideas must be evaluated in terms of its potential for creating wealth. Not only, it should not only be evaluated in terms of publication point of view, that how much strong the idea is for publishing in the journal, but we have to think also that how much potential that particular research idea has in converting that into a usable product or converting that research into the wealth. As far as the creating that particular kind of innovative or entrepreneurship culture in the institute is concerned, definitely we have to provide the, you can say, the students all opportunities to learn. My previous speakers also talked about autonomy. Yes, we have to have that, you can say, flexible environment where the students can learn at their pace and at their wish, whatever they want to learn. Keeping this in view, we also at NIT Raipur, we have developed a makers space, which is 24/7 lab space, where the students can go and work. They can do whatever they wish. It's not a compulsorily included in the syllabus. It is as per their choice, and there is no fixed hours for that. They have the facility available within the institute campus. They can visit there and they can do whatever they wish. They can develop the ideas, and then we have the, you can say, the faculty mentors also. So faculty mentors may guide them so that their ideas are converted into prototype, and gradually their skill towards entrepreneurship is improved. This is how we can nurture the entrepreneurship amongst the students. Definitely, they should not be only job seeker, they should be job provider. And for that, there is a need to look into the grassroots problem. We have to train the students, we have to train the faculty also. There is a need of change in the mindset of all, and there is a need of creating a kind of ecosystem so that all are working in that direction.
Absolutely.
We may include the subjects of the entrepreneurship as a part of the curriculum. That too also we have done at NIT Raipur. We have 2 subjects, 2 open electives we have introduced. It's not a compulsory, but electives are there, and that 2 open electives. Any student from any branch can take those subjects. One is fundamentals of the entrepreneurship, and another course is advanced course. So they get a basic idea of that. So with all this, we can create a kind of ecosystem in the institute. And if I say recently in the innovation initiatives by MHRDs are also there. MHRD or Ministry of Education, I should say now, they have released a much more needed National Innovation and Startup Policy, NISP, in 2019. That focuses on all these aspects, where they are saying that you have to have a separate fund allocated for the innovation. This is how we can create innovation culture in the institute.
Absolutely, sir. We have, thank you so much, sir. We have only five minutes left. So
Okay.
I am so thankful to all the speakers for sharing their views on it. I will sum it up, and I will also contribute by some of the points that I have towards creating a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation in educational institutions. We all agree, all of us agree that unless we unless we bring some change in the existing education system, and which will lead to some innovation and creativity. But how will this come? Like every action, every behavior, innovation and creativity and entrepreneurship needs some action, and that kind of action or reaction will be driven by the value systems. And if we don't value change, or if we don't value innovation, for example, one of the other speakers said that we try to bring some change, it is faced with a lot of resistance. So first we have to create this culture in which there is a shared pattern of values, beliefs and assumptions about being willing to create that change, about accepting to create that change. Sometimes there is a lack of competence, sometimes there is a lack of will. And we have to bring that up, all the agents, whether it is parents or teachers or students or administration or the government, everybody has to take part in it, in creating that ecosystem which Dr. Rawani just mentioned. Parents have to shed, I'm making some bold statements here. Parents have to stop thinking that I want to send my son or daughter to get a degree. They have to start thinking that they are sending their son and daughter to get some knowledge, which he or she should be free to either seek a job or to start something on her own. I think that will really improve, that will create less pressure on the students, that as soon as I complete out of final year, I should be taking a job, or I should be starting earning. Give some time to do something on his own or her own. Second, teachers, faculty. If there are many faculty, we see that who are there for securing a job or a livelihood. The value systems in faculty have to be so strong that they will speak the truth, they will stand with what is right, and they will appreciate what is required for the overall benefit of education system, regardless. So that is what they have to work towards, and that is what will, if faculty set an example of doing something like innovative and creative, and which is about supporting entrepreneurship, students will definitely emulate them, because faculty are the contact points of with the students in any universities. Research has to look at the local problems, and we have to get out of citations. Other things will follow if you do something out of your research which will impact society. And something which will impact society means there is a gap. If you are trying to address that gap, definitely it will have more takers and customers, and entrepreneurship will emerge. So innovation and entrepreneurship will happen, and the universities are the best place for it to happen. We should change. We have to look at the system of our assessments and evaluations, where there are so many tests. Engineering, I will give you an example. When I did my engineering 30 years ago, there was one exam. Now there within semester system and trimester system. Now each trimester system there are four exams. Why are we burdening our students with just giving exams and getting marks? We have to change the systems, and overall everybody has to contribute in trying to affect that change. There is a room left for creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. I think we have to look at changing the structure, the people, the leadership, the faculty, as well as the systems of evaluation and assessment. All of these things together, and the mindset, of course, because unless we change our values, what we value will not change. We have to start valuing innovation. We have to start valuing changes necessary, and only then we will be able to encourage innovation and entrepreneurship in our universities, and there will be equal result in the growth of higher education system. I thank all the speakers for the cooperation and their participation. Over to you, Abhishek. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Indu ma'am, for this wonderful session and for giving your precious time for this World Education Summit. Thank you, Joy sir. Thank you very much for giving time to the 17th World Education Summit. Thank you, Bala sir, for this time, for your precious time. Thank you, Rawani sir, for coming to the World Education Summit. I request all my audience, if you have any question, you can follow all our panelists on their social media as well. You can put your question to all our panelists, and you can also write us down at education@digitallearning.in so that we can forward this question to our panelists, and if they revert, we will get back to you soon on that. And by this, we are wrapping this session, and thank you all our esteemed panelists, and I request all my audience to stay on this. We are on our World Education Awards ceremony, and we will be live on this platform only, and we are going to felicitate universities, government dignitaries, corporates on their remarkable work and innovation in higher education. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bala sir. Thank you, Rawani sir. Thank you, Sen sir. Thank you, Indu ma'am.